All right. Today we're joined with Senator Tim Scott. Tim, thank you for your time today.
Good to be with y'all.
Yes, sir. So first question of the day, the hot question everyone wants to know, Trump's assassination attempt. What are your thoughts on that?
What a crazy day. I mean, I'll say this. So if you did not believe in miracles before Saturday, you should darn sure believe in miracles today. Without any question. It's, just to see a bullet, I think you can see the little picture of a bullet crossing
right by his head.
right by his head. If you think about the fact that that was 1 inch in the other direction, he'd be dead. I think our country would be in absolute turmoil today.
Facts.
So there's no doubt that I saw divine intervention, real time, a miraculous manifestation, undeniable, in a way that no one can deny that fact. The good news is when you feel like you get a second chance at life, I think you take it very seriously and you start looking at ways to help people. And I think this is going to be a momentous election, and hopefully will empower more people in more places to do their own thing. And that's a good thing.
Definitely. That's very well said. Next question. So you were on the short list to become Trump's VP, and he just announced J.D. Vance. So what's next for Tim Scott?
That's a good question. Listen, my deal is a simple one. I was a kid that grew up in poverty, single-parent household. My mom worked 16-hour days, and I got to say, my true American hero, there's no one more powerful, more important to me than Francis Scott. And my mom sacrificed for me and my brother in such ways that when I went into politics and public service, I did it for one reason. I wanted to make sure that kids growing up like I did have a chance to experience their version of the American dream. And for me, that means education is the closest thing to magic. I was a kid, y'all don't know my complete story, but a part of it is the fact that as a freshman in high school, I basically failed out.
Oh, wow.
I failed 4 subjects my freshman year. I failed world geography and civics. Civics is the study of politics.
Yes, sir.
So I say God has a sense of humor. When I'm sitting here as a United States Senator after failing civics my freshman year, it's a trip. I failed Spanish and English.
Oh, wow.
My joke is if you fail Spanish and English, don't nobody call you bilingual. They call you biignorant because you can't speak any language. I was a lost man, I'll be honest with you. But in God's grace, a mama who believed that love comes at the end of a switch. Y'all know anything about a switch?
No, sir.
The switch.
Oh, the switch that you get whooped with?
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I look at his face like,
that.
I'm not sure about him. I felt the pain. Yes, I felt the power. When the power is released on you, you get your act together fast.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's not popular anymore, but my mama taught me very, very valuable lessons as a kid. And as a result of that, what I'm going to do going forward is to remember the lessons I learned from Francis Scott and make sure that I work on education opportunity. I think school choice is really important.
Definitely.
And financial literacy. I'm a guy
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
that believes if we don't teach people the 3 ways to create wealth in this nation, we're going to miss the boat. 3 ways to create wealth is real estate, equity position in the marketplace, and small business ownership. If we understand those 3 opportunities, then we can empower people growing up like I did to experience the highest heights this nation has to offer.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. Like, I really agree with a lot of things you said. School choice, financial literacy is huge.
Massive, my man.
Man, that makes a
As a matter of
world of
fact,
difference.
a couple of years ago, I created something with Visa and the NFL called Financial Football. And the whole goal was to get this disc, and it's like John Madden. We've all played John Madden, right?
Of course, yes, sir.
Yeah. So I used to play my nephew when he was a kid. I'd get the super team. He had the worst team in the NFL, and he'd still win. So I had a lot of work to do there. But financial football gives you a chance to actually gain yards by answering questions. What is a savings account? What are derivatives? What's a mortgage? By getting kids engaged. I did that at my old high school, my alma mater. I brought in Greg Olson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he and the TD, Thomas Dixon, I think it is, he was number 54 for the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, yeah, Thomas Davis, the linebacker.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So those 2 came in, they coached one team, I coached the other team. They should have coached with me. Anyways, they're better football players, but I was a better coach at that time. We won. But it was so much fun watching these kids learn about money in an environment that they found fun and exciting. I think the more fun you have, the easier it is to remember.
Absolutely.
And so I want to make sure I focus on giving the poorest kids in our nation access to some of these tools that can change not only their lives, but their mama's life. When I was playing football in high school and a little bit to college, my whole goal was to get my mama out of poverty. It wasn't to make a ton of money just for me. It was I wanted her to have a nice house with a garage. And so to the extent I can take those lessons, no matter my position, my mission remains the same.
Yes, sir. Oh, so where'd you play college football at?
Presbyterian College.
Oh, awesome. We all
exactly.
are collegiate athletes as well. We ran track at University of Louisiana.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What was your event?
I was a sprinter, 400 meters, my main event.
Wow. I got to say now, I was not a college sprinter. I was a high school sprinter.
Yes, sir.
I was about 2 seconds a little slower than 100 meters. What was your 100 meters? 10-1. I'll be right back. Lord have mercy. I was in high school where everybody got glory years and glory stories.
Definitely.
My best time in high school, I went to the state championship. Tell you how slow South Carolinians are compared to students, but actually we got some really fast athletes. I went to the state championship, but I was a 200-pound sprinter. My best time was 11:0.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was fast.
Hey,
I can't even see you at 10-1.
yeah,
Slow
no,
motion.
200 pounds, that's football speed right there, though.
It was fun.
You make something happen with the football field right
but
there.
But I also went for the shot put.
Okay, yes, sir.
For the state but and the 4x100 relay. So I love track. Now, what was your 400 time?
47.0 is my fastest time.
So people run under 50?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
800, so you must have been
155.
Golly. Y'all some athletes in here, brother.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Hurdles.
Yeah, 14-0.
Dang.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So, next question. After the debate, the Democrat Party is in absolute shambles. The media is in shambles.
Yes.
They're calling for Biden to drop out and be replaced. Do you think that will actually happen?
I think they have a multi-$100 million problem.
Oh, definitely.
They can't have Biden drop out because they lose all that money. And if you don't have the money, it's hard to win.
Definitely.
And so for Joe Biden to drop out, they have to figure out how to raise another $200 million.
Yeah.
And the donors are already pressing hold.
Yeah,
pressing the brakes
90
already.
million they paused.
Yeah, paused it. So the reality of it is, if you can't have the money, you can't run a successful campaign. And frankly, the Democrats don't want Kamala Harris to be the ticket,
Yeah,
the top of the ticket.
She's not the answer.
And so if she's not the answer, where do you go? When they played so much identity politics on the left, where they're trapped in this game of identity politics. They can't go with Newsom. They got to go with, in my opinion, a person of color. And I don't know that you can take Kamala Harris and put her at the top of the ticket.
I don't think so.
I don't think the Democrats want that.
Nah.
So bottom line is that they're stuck with Joe.
Definitely. Yeah, and I've seen where the media is like actually criticizing Joe Biden. Like, that's how you know it's bad.
When the New York Times comes out and says it's time for a change,
You know it's in desperation mode.
But the funny thing is, they're not trying to change him out as president. They're trying to change him out as a candidate.
Wow.
That tells me a lot. That means that they're not concerned about the health and the well-being of the country. They're concerned about whether or not he can win or lose.
Yeah.
So they're playing politics because it's about power, not the people.
Yeah, definitely. And they've done all this propping up of him, saying he's
For
competent.
years, man.
Yeah, and it's all falling apart.
Yeah, sir. I saw this little clip of I think it was Chuck Todd. He was talking to someone that one of the cabinet members told Chuck Todd 2 years ago that Joe wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
Not like he used to be. And so with that as a reality, that means that the news has been complicit with gaslighting the American people.
Absolutely.
About the health and mental fitness of the President of the United States.
Oh, definitely.
That's why people don't trust the news anymore.
Man, the trust in legacy media is at an all-time low.
Exactly. Keyword legacy.
Yes, sir.
Because there's still good outlets, but you got to go search and find it.
Definitely.
But the national media, as we know it, has been such an extension of the Democrat Party that no longer do people look at that and say, you know what, I can trust what they say.
Oh, that's 100% fact. They came to the point where they tried to say it was deep fakes. Like, you're not fooling anybody.
Well, that's why when you get fresh, real faces like y'all telling a story, having a conversation, people want to tune in. That's why y'all are so popular, because at the end of the day, we don't have to agree on everything. But if I can get the facts and not just your commentary, I can come to my own decisions,
Definitely.
my own conclusions. But if I always get your commentary and not the facts, it's hard to form good final decisions about what's in my best interest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Last question I got for you.
Yeah, man.
So the media is in desperation mode, as we just discussed. They
Yes.
keep trying to use this Project 2025 to discredit the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
What are your comments on that?
Listen, the bottom line is simply this. Heritage Foundation put out Project 2025 in an attempt to make sure that there were lots and lots of people and a strong agenda for the president to take up. Here's what we know about Donald Trump. Donald Trump makes decisions for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Nobody else does. So you can come up with 19 different projects. At the end of the day, What we know is Donald Trump is going to do what he's done before. Like, he brought African-American unemployment to the lowest level in the history of the country. How did he do that? Well, he cut taxes and gave people their money back. And I wrote the personal side of the tax code. One of the things I did when I was writing that part of the tax code was I thought about my single mom. On average in 2017, she should be making around $39,000. That's the average wage for a single mom in America. We cut her taxes by 70%.
Wow, that's huge.
We doubled the child tax credit.
That's a big difference.
We believe that if you have your money, it is easier for you to support your family. Don't take the money away and say, I know more than you know about where to send your kid to school.
Man.
I know more than you know about how much gas you need in your car. How about just trust me? Don't be so paternalistic about your approach to governing people.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, how they gonna tell you what to do with your money?
You can't tell me. I went to my barbershop and said, what do we believe in? We believe in letting you keep your money.
Hey, I know they like that.
Nobody said a word.
Yes, sir.
They said, well, they did say a word. After I got done, they said, Republican? I'm like, yeah, I'm still Republican. I'm like, you want me to keep my money? I'm like, yes. They were like, all right, I can do that.
Man.
Because if you make common sense works.
Definitely.
Whether you're R or D, whether you're blue or whether you're red, most people care about GREEN, green. And when we do that, we find ourselves having a serious conversation about how we actually see upward mobility.
Definitely. Well, thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. All right, now. Brock, what's up, man? Yes, sir. 10-1. 10-1.
Yeah, man. We have to line up outside. We have to
No, sir, we won't. I was a second slower than you 40 years ago.
No, but that was in high school. You were 200 pounds, though.
That's true.
So
Now I'm more than 200 pounds. I'm even slower today than I was then.
Okay.
But I don't mind racing.
Okay.
I like competition.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about your football career.
Yes, sir.
And how, because I saw you had a wreck, right? You got into
Terrible
a wreck,
wreck,
and
yeah.
it ruined your football career.
It did, for in many ways. Listen, I was a talented kid. Junior year, I was averaging a little bit over 6 yards a carry. I was doing very well. Would I have ever made the NFL? Who knows? But I had good talent. I had good work ethic. My senior year, coming into my senior year, my mom, as I was saying earlier, she struggled to keep the ends together. We had way too much month at the end of the money. And one of the things she had to do is she worked early in the morning till late at night. And so we only had one car. So I would drive her to work in the morning, 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, about 30 minutes away. And I'd drive back, get ready for football practice. And back in August, you're doing 2 a days, you know? And so one August morning, August 27th, I was taking her to work, coming back home, and I just got sleepy. And so I rolled the windows down. I didn't say push the button. I had to roll my windows down because we didn't have no electricity in that car, right? Roll the windows down. Yeah. I rolled them up, and I turned the AC on and the heat on and the radio up. Next thing I knew, I heard the gravel underneath my tires. I slid off the road. But I fell asleep for about 15 seconds or so. I'm not sure how long. But I slammed on the brakes and jerked the steering wheel. And when you do both at the same time on the interstate at 70 miles an hour, your car doesn't spin. It rolls. So my car rolled back into rush hour traffic through 2 lanes. I hit the median, went up in the air. Cars went underneath me. I would go through the windshield with my back, holding onto the steering wheel. I was yelling for help. I said, Jesus! Ended up coming back on the opposite lanes of traffic in a ditch. Glass everywhere, blood everywhere. I had shards of glass coming out of my back. My ankle was broken. And, you know, I missed 7 weeks of my football season as a result of that accident. 6 weeks of the games and 1 week of the practice. And lots of potential scholarships went out the window. I ended up with a small scholarship to Presbyterian College, go Blue Host. And I became a Christian. And I will say for me, the worst ever experience of my life was losing what I thought was my only way out of poverty, was through football. But God in his infinite wisdom birthed a new dream of leadership in that moment. I gave up my football scholarship, went to Charleston Southern University, then called Baptist College, on a Christian leadership scholarship. I had to work full-time because it wasn't enough to pay for my education. But as a result, I found myself going into politics. And fast forward 3 decades later, I'm blessed to serve the United States of America as one of 100.
Wow.
So what I didn't see was a plan. Romans 8:28 reminds me that all things work together for good for those who love God and call according to his purpose. So for me, just the brilliance of a backup plan that I did not know even existed at the time became God's primary way of helping me bless this country and bless, frankly, my mom.
Wow. Amen. Amen. That's beautiful. I like that a lot. I see how it completely changed your perspective and got you into what you're in now, which is one being a huge politician and a prominent figure in the Black community as well.
Yes, sir.
So one thing you mentioned was you felt like football was your only way out of poverty.
Yes.
I feel like in the Black community, a lot of kids feel like that, like football, basketball, or rap is almost your only way.
100%.
How do we change that perspective in that narrative?
One of the things I try to do to change that perspective, because it's a lie, number one.
Right.
We got to tell it like it is a lie. I mean, we were talking, he was smiling back there behind the camera, about financial literacy being so important. What we get in sometimes in the poorest communities in our country is this tailored message just for us, that the only way out is through athletics or entertainment. Those are two ways. They're not even the best ways, but there are two ways. I ran into a mentor when I was 15 years old who told me that by being a business owner, I could think my way out of poverty. Not to suggest that people in poverty aren't thinking, because some of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life never got access to opportunities because they lived in the wrong zip code. When that's a reality, we have to figure out how to bring opportunity to those zip codes. That's why I created opportunity zones. So we could bring opportunity to the zip code, $70 billion coming into the poorest parts of the country because of our legislation. But I understood, looking back, that if I just knew that being a business owner, investing in a market, owning a house, starting a small business were ways for me to alleviate poverty, not just for me, but for my mama, I would have been more motivated about thinking than not just playing. So in my estimation, that one of the ways that we have to change the narrative is to go into those areas and tell the story. I go to a school every school year, several times a year, different schools, just to share the gospel of hope, to be an ambassador of hope, that there are multiple ways out. Just because of where you live or what you look like doesn't confine you to a lower standard of living. We have to open that mind up. With the mind is open. I heard this when I was about 18, 19 years old. With the mind of man can conceive and believe, the body can achieve.
Wow. That's very interesting. That's very true, too. I really like that. Yeah, so we sat down with Byron Donalds and Wesley Hunt, and we talked about a lot of the problems that are in the Black community and how the left kind of pushes that victim mentality onto the kids a lot. And I feel like they do that and then turn around and say Republicans are racist and not for like helping, poverty and Black people.
Yes.
But then you just told us about how you raised all this money and helped all these kids that are in poverty.
100%.
So how is it that the left is able to push this narrative that Republicans aren't for poverty?
Listen, when you have a monopoly in a community, you disrespect that community. Democrats have had a monopoly in our community for more than 5 decades. And what do we have to show for their monopoly? There aren't enough diverse voices. And I'm not talking about the color of your skin. I'm talking about your political ideology. There's not enough competition for the minds of our people. And one of the things I hope to do is continue to do is introduce that competition. Because you think about it, when I was running for president, I went to the south side of Chicago. Ain't nobody running for president going to the south side of Chicago. Everybody running for president should go to the south side of Chicago. Why? Because you will find some people who love the Lord, who love their families, who work long hours for a little bit of money, and they just need a little bit of hope. And on the south side of Chicago, they have had a Democrat-controlled city for 100 years almost, since 1927. Wow. And the worst crime you can find, not all Chicago, on the south side, thousands of people are shot every single year. You don't hear no news stories about that.
No BLM about that.
Exactly. The poorest kids on the south side are not allowed, hear me, not allowed to go to another public school in their own city run by Dems.
Wow.
People say, well, you sold out because you're a Republican. Let me sell out then, because I'm going to bring the truth back to my community. I have an obligation and a responsibility, and I believe that God Almighty does not waste a single characteristic. He made me Black on purpose. I am a proud African American, but I'm also proud to tell my people the truth. And the truth is, there is a better way. better way than the Democratic monopoly that keeps you down because it's about their power, not about your progress.
Wow, that's very interesting, especially coming from, people like us who look like us, typically not really on the right. So circling back to that, so when you stopped playing football and decided to get into politics,
Yes.
were you already kind of thinking like more conservatively or?
Yeah, I was always conservative. I mean, the thing that happened for me, my grandfather was a powerful influence on my life. He died 8 years ago and miss him to this day. But I got to tell you, Artis Ware was his name. Artis Ware grew up in a small little southern town called Sally, South Carolina. And he was born in 1921. When he was in third grade, 8 years old, they looked at him and said, there's no need for an educated black boy. Your life will be picking cotton. And he was forced out of school. He never learned to read, barely wrote his name, but he was the wisest man I knew. And he's the one that told me when my parents got divorced and we had to move away from comfort and into poverty, he's the one that told me, you can be a victim or you can be victorious, but you can't be both.
Wow.
You got to pick one, brother. And for a man who understood the scars of racism that had been torn his soul apart, for that man to tell me it is not okay to be a victim if you want to live a good life. So taking the lessons of Artis Ware, harnessing that power, has given me the opportunity to tell the story, especially in our community. Not everybody wants to hear it, but let me tell you, you don't need to be a Republican. You don't need to be a Democrat. Follow your interest. Whoever represents your interest, vote for them.
Wow.
Might be both sides.
Okay, cool. That's very interesting. Okay, I have one last question.
Yes, sir.
And it might be a little different. I don't know if you've ever got this question before, but I've seen recently, like, a lot on the left. I see it a lot. They demonize people who are in interracial relationships.
Yes.
And I'm mixed. So my dad is black, my mom is white. So I've never understood, like, two people are happy and y'all are for progressiveness and, LGBTQ and all that, and y'all accept that. But then yet a black person gets with a white person and now it's a problem. So I see you're about to get married. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any backlash for that?
You know I have.
Yeah.
Let's just tell it. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You know I have. Listen, I cannot understand how the progressive party who believes in freedom and liberty for everybody, except me, except you, except your parents.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
I mean,
Let's think about this now. Let's be serious. Who Kamala Harris married to?
White guy.
yeah.
I'm sorry. How about Justice Jackson? White and bright. I mean, listen. I'm just saying. How can you be so hypocritical?
So hypocritical.
So judgmental.
Yeah.
What happened to MLK's concept of judging people on the content of their character, not the color of their skin? Judge me on what I do. Judge me, sure, but don't come to a conclusion of who I am because you don't like my party or my wife.
Yeah.
I don't need you.
Yeah.
But you know what? We do need to make a difference. Now, I don't care. I'm looking into this camera. I want y'all to hear me completely clearly. I love all people. I thank God he made me black. I love all people. But he called me to a higher purpose, to a higher calling, to love all of his children. He says in Galatians 3:28, strange news for some, but the real. We are all adopted into the same family. That there is no Jew or Gentile. There is no Greek. We're all in the same family. And my last comment, I'm a novice at the Bible, but I really like it because it tells really cool stories, right?
Yeah.
Here's one of the coolest stories, right? So this is this dude named Moses. We ain't never heard of Moses, right? Moses marries this black woman from Africa. His sister and his brother did not like the fact that he married a black woman from Africa.
I didn't know that.
Check it out. God cursed them.
Ooh,
I think it was leprosy if I got it right.
that's a bad one.
And then Moses had to pray for his brother and his sister to be cured from the leprosy because they were like, no, seriously, I'm sorry. We ain't talking about your wife no more. Here's my point. If the Lord himself had no issues with it, Why can't your mama and your daddy be happy that they got a smart, engaged young man who's a lot faster than United States senators trying to make a difference your way?
Appreciate that, man.
That's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to say, I got this talent. I have these abilities. I'm not just going to hold them on to me and make a bunch of money just for me. I'm actually going to invest myself in the hardest way possible. But do it because I believe that our community needs to hear the whole story. And then you decide. That's called real.
Thank you, man.
God bless you, brother.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much. This was great. Amen.
Absolutely, absolutely.